Another day, another chance, another win, another dance. Today, I'll be discussing to you all about chapter 12. It's pretty much a chapter, introduction to hooks. It's just I'm just ending off, all the chapters for React Redux. So that's what I'm ending off on. So React Redux taught us a lot. There are a lot of things about how to you make use of Redux to pretty much set up, web apps and so on and so forth. So that's what it is, man. So that's pretty much what it is. So yeah, it's pretty much set it. So yeah, it pretty much something to main things, literally something brought back or revived more kind of popular open source JavaScript library for predictable, centralized state management in web applications, especially with React using a single store actions, what happened and reduces how state changes in a one-way data flow. Redux toolkit being the recommended modern approach. So that's that's pretty much what it is. So it's chapter 12, function or class based components. Components introducing hooks. The components we have so far gone through in this book are class-based components that have support state and life cycle life cycle methods. So there's another kind of component called functional component that's defined by functions. So example, import React from React, so on and so forth. So firstly, both are still React components. That is, a component can either be implemented with a function or with a class, regardless of its implementation. The purpose of a component is ultimate produce HTML to the user via JSX. So its secondary purpose is to handle feedback from the user. Example, user clicks and typing of the keyboard. One of the challenging things to do when first introduced to React is to decide if she should use a class-based or functional-based component. So it is here that I wish to give you a general rule of thumb to one just beginning of React. So pretty much what we're dealing with here is hooks. So in this hook, man, we have a user file, then we have a build. That's what we pretty much have. So what we have here is just hooks in general. Users posts then to dos. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we got for hooks. So now a class base component is used generally. So if you have a complex logic, you need to respond to user input, then make network requests. I personally enjoy working in class-based components, but there are many professional developers out there who disagree with me. Yada and yada yada yada. So with hooks, functional-based components can now have component-level state and lifecycle methods, but hooks just about functional components, replacing functionality from class-based ones. So what happens in hooks is instead of having a class-based functionality, we're gonna have tabs that make use of APIs. So before I carry on, I need to introduce you to my navigator. His name is Ernest Alcom. It's my navigator. He's pretty much navigating my video. So yeah, that's my navigator. So we got a constant app, right? Which is JSX.element. So const types equals users, APIs, posts, to dos. So you got HTTPS. So you got because you got APIs. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have. So we got users. You got an API for that. Posts API for that, and then you got to dos. HTTPS to dos. Then we got a constant variable which is active tab, set active use state then uses, then const variable data loading and error use fetch, then tabs active tab. So the downside of hooks, of using hooks, the reason why it's called hooks because you're hooking APIs to your app. But the downside to that is the fact that it needs internet. That's what I realized when I tried using without internet and I couldn't fetch any data because it needs to fetch these APIs from the Node library. So we got a library called the Node module library in which right. So that's pretty much what we got. And then return div class name container empty4 and then h1. So you got a mini dashboard. Then tab container active key equals active tab. So unselect equals k. So greater than sets active tab then k. So that's pretty much what you've got. So your nav variant pills class name flex column object dot keys tabs dot map tab then equal to or greater than nav dot item key equals tab and then nav dot link and then event key equals tab nav dot link then nav item then nav column sm equals 9. So type that contents tab that pane event key then equals active tab. So these are pretty much the settings in which we make use of, for our app. So let me just right. So let me just use ChatGPT. So that's pretty much what we have. Okay. So yeah, okay. Well, there's a problem there. So we also got conditions. So loading ampersand. So if we have a case where we got loading. It's not loading ampersand or we don't have an error, right? What's gonna happen is we pretty much gonna like get users there as well. So strict equal operator users. So active tabs you're gonna have a strict equal operator, which means it's strictly gonna equal to users. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with here. Yeah. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with. So yeah. Then we got a card as well, which is email, username, and phone. So there's pretty much the cards that we've got too. Then you got active tab, strict equal operator posts for card title, active tab, and so on and so forth. And this is pretty much the for the card body, the tab settings, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's what it is. So all these things, pretty much give us the functionality, right? Give us the functionality for what we're dealing with. They pretty much give us the functionality for HTML. So pretty much give us functionality for what we're dealing with. So yeah, the provide code snippet ends here. With conditional renderings for posts introduced would would typically would be typical within this card body. So block to complete the dashboard functionality. So it's pretty much all the stuff that we're dealing with there. Yeah, stuff that we're dealing with, so on and so forth. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Wait, hold on. Dealing with. So as you can see here, we got imports of necessary dependencies from React and React Bootstrap, right? And then we got import React use states from React. Then we got const types, hooks to manage which types can be active defaulting to users. Then use the custom use fetch hook to fetch data based on the URL of the active tab. The hook returns the data loading state and any error encountered. Then the component renders the UI structure. Then main container with margin and padding for layout, so on and so forth. Then tab container component to manage tab state and content, so on and so forth. And then columns for the navigation, so on and so forth. Individual data card components map over the fetch data array to render individual cards, then create layout for displaying data cards. Render data only when not loading and no error is present. Then conditional rendering based on the active tab type. Then you got display user to specific data, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much what you have. And then you got test renders users components. Const variables get by text equals render app. The const equals get by text loading. Expect text to be in the document, so on and so forth. Then renders users components. Then import render from add testing library React. Import app from app, and then it's pretty much what we have. Then you got imports React DOMs, app from app, then service worker, then we render our route there. And then we got app tests, pretty much the normal test that we got. Then we got variables. So use fetch.js. So we got a constant variable called use fetch URLs. So it pretty much fetch the URL. Do you remember if you remember the APIs that we implemented, that we fetched from the Node module library, right? So yeah, that we pretty much have then use effect, set loading true, set error null, then fetch URL. Then you're gonna if statement of if we don't have a resolution, an okay resolution, then we're gonna throw in a new error. A network response uh, was not okay. So then we're gonna return the res.json. Then JSON set data set loading. Then catch, then catch. So a catch, if you remember, is pretty much a parameter or return or promise for the completion of a callback. Attach a callback for only the rejection of the promise. So that's a catch. So it catches an error. Then it then pretty much sets a method, right, which is a callback for the resolution of a promise. Then set data JSON set loading false. Then the catch is gonna set an error. Then it's gonna set loading. Then return data loading error. Then export defaults. Then use fetch, right? Then use that JS import React use fetch from use fetch. Then const users equals use fetch HTTPS JSON placeholder, and then tip icode dot com users. Then an if statement if we don't have users or we don't have an array that is array users, then we're gonna return loading. So that means if we don't have users, that means probably if we don't have the tabs and so on and so forth, then it's gonna return well uses that map el equals to or greater than li key equals el dot id is greater than el name, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much what we have, what we're dealing with. And then we got index, then app.css. So we got pretty much got a css for app. So app logo, uh, me app header, app link, so on, and so forth. Then you got our body, and then we have our code. So that's pretty much what we have there. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with. Come on. Oh, Yeah, that's what we're dealing. So on the front end, right, we got we got a mini dashboard. Field to fetch. Is that even working? So, oh, the reason why nothing was loading, my APIs weren't loading, is because there's an error on my app side. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with. Come on, let's load it up. Yeah. So as you can see here, we got a mini dashboard. So on the HTML or my HTML, we have link relations, right? Then got React app. You need to enable JavaScript to run this app. Right. Hey. So yeah, on React app, you know, you need to enable JavaScript to run this app, so on and so forth. Link real Apple Touch icon, href equals public URL, so on and so forth. So yeah, on the app.js, we saw that. So we got Lean Graham, Irvin Howell, Patrick Lebsack, Clementine Buck, Chesley Dietrich, Mrs. Dennis Schoolist, Nicholas Runolf's daughter, Curtis Weisnat, Glenna, all these Dutch names, all these German names, bro. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we have. And then you got our to dos, just Ipsum, so on and so forth. And then, so that's pretty much what we have, man. So, soon to odds for Sarah, Repellat, so on and so forth. And then you got my to dos. Then got my to dos. Come on, to do. Come on, come on. I feel to fetch. What happened, man? What happened? So that's pretty much what we have. That's pretty much what we're dealing with. So users and posts, and then yeah, I mean it's nothing else. Thank you, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being very attentive, being very attentive. Take care, God bless, and yeah, take care, and I will see you next time. Thank you, thank you, God bless.